You know, I wanted to set this straight because this is an important story. It has to be told. Folks, they wonder where I came from. Bill, how can you be so effortlessly wonderful at what you do? It's as if you came out of nowhere. No, I have a definite history. And part of that is my pop, my audience reception, and my name recognition comes from the Stone Age when I was part of the greatest country music band that ever existed, the Billroy, Texas Hankies. Now that was Wild Bill, Roy Rogers, Tex Ritter, and Hank Williams. The greatest draws in all of country music, all time and space. No one's ever exceeded us. But our agent was from the last century, and he kept booking us in these little shit kicker bars in the middle of nowhere. However, we would pull, it was like Woodstock every weekend, you know what I mean? A million people would like try to cram these little shit kicker bars. So every time we went to a gig, as soon as we got there, Tex would pile out of the truck and waddle as fast as he'd go to the outhouse, lock himself in, and then sit in there all night while we had to unload the equipment, set up the equipment, do the sound check ourselves, play the gig ourselves, schmooze the owner ourselves and the crowd, play the whole gig, break down the equipment ourselves, pack up the truck ourselves, get ready to leave, and Tex would emerge from his throne room to get paid. This weighed on us like few other things in music. When you're part of a four-man supergroup and one of the men doesn't want to do any of the work, you start to think like, and so we finally got what we thought was going to be our breakaway gig. Here, the first Holiday Inn had opened up in 100 West Virginia, and our agent got us the gig. Wow! So we put on our best shit kickers, right? And we got into the truck and we drove out there, and we had this plan that we had talked about without Tex in the room. As soon as we got there, Roy would run for the outhouse, get inside, and stay there for the first set. Tex would have to help us move the equipment, set up the equipment, do the sound check, play the first set. And then, as soon as that first set was over, then Hank would run to the bathroom, and he'd switch places, and each set, one of us would switch places with the other, and so Tex would have to be on stage the whole damn night. He'd have to load equipment with us, he'd have to set up the equipment with us, he'd have to do the sound check with us, play the gig with us, break down the equipment with us, schmooze the owner, schmooze the band, schmooze the crowd, and then help break down, pack up in the truck again, and we'd go home. He'd be pulling his weight. So we got this job at this brand new Holiday Inn. We didn't know what to expect. You know, it might be more than 2 stories tall. We didn't know. So we get there, and I don't know if you've ever been to that old Holiday Inn building, 100, but big tall thing, you know, giant billboard outside, the Billroy, Texas Hankies. Here we are. This is the big time, folks. So as soon as we got there, right, we piled out of the truck. We were going to go take up the gear, and then one of us was running to the outhouse, very first thing, to keep Tex out of there. And here, the place was so advanced and so modern, they didn't have a one-hole outhouse out back. They had a 4-holer. So while we were trying to decide what to do, Tex ran to the outhouse, locked himself in the corner stall, and stayed there the whole damn night again. And we had to unload the equipment, build, put the equipment together, do the sound check, play the whole gig ourselves, break it all down, pack it all in the truck to go home. And Tex appears from that stall and he says, "What's the matter, Bill? You look glum." And I said, "Tex," I was feeling stingy with the money about this time. I says, "Tex, we have to do all the work. And you sit in the outhouse and do shit all night. And then you get paid a full share." And he goes, "Yep, and that's hillbilly heaven." Well, that wasn't the first time I was arrested for assault. And it wasn't the last. But that is the story of the Billroy, Texas Hankies, the greatest country music band that ever lived with the 4 greatest country music stars. Wild Bill, Roy Rogers, Tex Ritter, Hank Williams. This is Wild Bill, 15th of February, 2024.